You don't know the power of the dark side. And here I was thinking I was going to add an extra video this this weekend on Disney's Disney Plus service because they announced a whole bunch of stuff. But no, then they had to go and drop the Star Wars trailer on us. So, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So, we have a title, we have a trailer, we have some still images. And, yeah, I don't think I've actually talked about Star Wars since Solo came out. To be fair, I haven't really wanted to. I want to be clear. I didn't like The Last Jedi. You can check out my review. I'll put the link to my initial review. I did several videos after that. Sort of going to the details of why, and I had to do that because the problems I had were not the ones that the loudest detractors of that film were actually shouting about. But you know, ultimately my dislike of that film wasn't what made me not want to talk about Star Wars. The other fans made me not want to talk about Star Wars anymore. So, I guess it has been long enough. It is now due to start working up the hype train on this thing. So, let's talk about this trailer. It scares the crap out of me. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that I think it looks terrible. It doesn't make me angry. But I look at this, and it's a bit of a slightly more extreme version of the reaction I had to the Joker trailer, which is, there are so many landmines on the path that you have decided to take for this film, at least the path that's indicated by this trailer, that I really am skeptical that anyone could dodge all of these things. You've got a lot to get right in order to stick the landing on this. So, a lot of what I'm going to talk about here is extrapolation. Obviously, I haven't seen the film. Star Wars in particular, especially these last few films, have been pretty, tight about what they have or haven't let us know in advance. So you can't really presume that you already know what's going to happen. So I'm not presuming that, but I'm still going to judge and extrapolate based off what I've seen. And even if I find myself getting worked up as I talk about some of this stuff, I'm getting worked up at the ideas that I think are going to happen. I'm not saying definitively any of this is the case. I could be wrong, and if I find myself getting worked up about it, I hope I am wrong. I don't want to dislike the movie. I don't like going to movies I don't want to see or not enjoy. So, that said, let's get into it. I like the opening shot. I mean, look, I don't know if this is going to sound weird for people knowing that I don't like The Last Jedi, but I like Rey. I like Rey as a character. I think she does a really good job playing her. I like the composition of the shot. I like that it's taking kind of a slow build angle to it, and initially it's just her, and you hear it, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds like a TIE fighter. That'd be flying really low, though, and then you get in and go, oh yeah, that's a TIE fighter coming in real low, real fast, and I think that was a strong opening shot. Good, that worked. But let's get into this thing a little bit more, into the nuts and bolts of it, and the things that I am worried about. We've got voiceover from Luke Skywalker. Now, it is possible that is strictly just being inserted into the trailer. They've done that before. They did that with the Force Awakens teaser, but that's probably going to lead most people to presume Force Ghost, and I think, again, regardless of your feelings on The Last Jedi, not seeing Luke as a Force Ghost would feel weird at this point. It'd be like, what the hell? So I think we can safely presume we're going to get a Force Ghost. We get to see Lando, and honestly, just seeing Billy D. Williams with that light up the room with that big smile, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's going to be nice. That's going to be fun. And some of the other little things we get bits and pieces of, this is where I start getting nervous. So we've got the shot of Leia hugging Rey, and this shot looks really over tinkered with. Like the entire background seems really overly fuzzy, and the clarity's way down. There's like lens flares going. It looks like the kind of thing when you put a lot of work in to cover up the fact that you're splicing together footage that wasn't shot to be together. Now, I've had some friends of mine suggest the possibility that maybe it's a dream sequence or a flashback or something like that, like maybe, and that'll get away with the presentation a bit more. But regardless, even if they justify that, I don't like the idea of them having to do that kind of visual tinkering in order to make whatever footage they have of Carrie Fisher actually work. So that makes me nervous. We see a little bit of Kylo Ren. Don't really know what he's up to. He appears to be leading stormtroopers, so I guess he did properly take over the New Order. But then we start getting to the stuff that's making me really nervous. Now, look, here's my biggest bullet point concern. It is not speculation at this point. It's fact. It's known. It's been said up front, even since when the films first started being developed. There was not an overall story plan. There was not a first film does this, third film does this. First film does this, second film does this, third film does this, and we end here. There was not that plan. And that resulted, at least I felt, in a really disjointed feel and vibe from Force Awakens to The Last Jedi, which was not my only problem with The Last Jedi, but was one of them, because The Force Awakens was very much, the entire vibe of the thing was Star Wars just like you remember it, and then the entire vibe of The Last Jedi was Star Wars not as you remember it, and either one of those is fine in of themselves, but to do a new quote-unquote trilogy and chase the nostalgia bait with the break all the toys rug pull, it feels like a bait and switch on fans. Like if whatever the first entry in this new trilogy was, I wanted that tone just to stay consistent across it. If they'd started with the big rug pull, not Star Wars as you remember it, if Episode 7 had the tone of The Last Jedi, I wouldn't have had the same issues with The Last Jedi, at least as far as that element of it goes. So now with J.J. Abrams coming back, I'm really worried that we're going to have like another really drastic gear shift trying to get back to what The Force Awakens was. And regardless of which film you feel is better, regardless of whether you think The Force Awakens is better or The Last Jedi is better, that is going to be an awkward transition, just getting it back again. It's not going to flow. It's not going to feel like a proper trilogy. And it's probably going to leave The Last Jedi feeling like the odd film out. Again, your feelings about The Last Jedi may make you feel that that's maybe not the worst thing in the world, but I'm still going to take issue with it because it shouldn't have happened. It should not feel that disjointed, that disconnected. The title concerns me as well because, okay, Rise of Skywalker. Which Skywalker? And the big thing I'm saying here is, I swear to God, you try and twist, oh wait, Rey really is somebody, she's a Skywalker, oh boy. Look, the idea of Rey being nobody was one of the few ideas that The Last Jedi did that I genuinely liked. Again, connecting the two films, it wasn't done properly because they built it up like she was somebody, so then when they reveal she's nobody, it feels like you're just jerking the audience around for the heck of it. But the concept of Rey being nobody, I liked. I always liked. I never wanted her to be connected to somebody. So if she turns out to be the Skywalker, which certainly the trailer seems to be built in a way to get you to feel that's going to tick me off. But again, to be fair, this is speculative, and that first Force Awakens trailer was built to make you think Finn was the person who was going to be having the Force and wielding a lightsaber. Turned out not to be the case. So, I'm not putting a ton of stock in that, but that certainly seems to be the vibe and the feel they wanted to be going for, and if it's accurate, that is going to annoy me and tick me off. And again, even if you prefer the idea that Rey is somebody, it's just this awkward gear shift from film to film to film. And as much as I dislike The Last Jedi, I'm not one of those people who's like, disregard it, it's not canon. No, it's there. We need to deal with it. It did See, here's the thing. The Last Jedi, as much as I did not particularly care for that film, it left things in a state where I was genuinely curious about what they were going to do next, because it left things in a state where, well, we can't just wallow in nostalgia. They broke everything. It has to go in a new direction. So this one, feeling much more in line with The Force Awakens and much more evocative of the past and much more just sort of looking back and almost navel-gazing, that doesn't work coming off of a film that seemed designed to force things to move forward as opposed to be looking back. And again, as much as I take issue with The Last Jedi as execution, the idea of kind of forcing the hand of the franchise to move in a new direction is not an awful one. I kind of wish they had done it with something other than the main saga, but they did it there, and I wish they would then take up the baton and go somewhere with it. It reminds me of what happened with the Alien franchise. So, like, Prometheus was a movie with a lot of flaws, but I thought a lot of interesting ideas. And when I found out Prometheus was going to get a sequel, I thought, God, I really hope they leap off the ideas that Prometheus set up. But instead, they made Alien Covenant, which just brought everything back to the friggin' xenomorph again, and they disregarded all the interesting ideas that Prometheus laid out. And again, Prometheus didn't do all of them well, but they were interesting ideas that I wanted to see picked up on. And that's kind of how I feel about The Last Jedi, so I am afraid that this new Star Wars, that Episode 9, is going to be analogous to Alien Covenant, trying to run back to the comfort zone after you already blew it up. So there's that going on. And then, like, we literally see Kylo Ren's helmet being put back together. I don't want to go so far as to say that deliberately feels like it's trying to placate a certain type of fan, but that feels like nothing if not an analogy for the entire film. Force Awakens introduces, basically just a refreshed version of A New Hope. Last Jedi broke that, smashed it to pieces, and now this one's going to be like, oh, we can put it back together. It's just as good, right? No, you can see the seams all in it. So I am sitting here wondering, is that helmet going to end up being the perfect internal analogy for what this film ends up being? Boy, I hope not, but maybe. And now let's get to the thing at the very end, which set off the biggest alarms. The laugh. That laugh is one of two things, neither of which I would appreciate. Well, it's one of three, and none of these I would appreciate. Least offensive option, it's nothing and it's nobody, and it's just pulled from a previous film to be all mysterious and tease the fans, and it actually is not related specifically to a character we already know. Which is stupid and is typical of J.J. Abrams jerking us around in the lead-up in the marketing. I don't like it, but it has the least impact on the finished film. Next option, it's Snoke, which is dumb in the same way that reassembling the helmet is dumb, or turning around and going, Rey actually is somebody, is dumb, which is that you just... I didn't like The Last Jedi, but I took the time. I saw it. It occupied my thoughts for a long time. Please don't tell me that wasted that you literally wasted my time by going basically none of that happened and having Snoke still be alive. That you're just going to feel like you're jerking me around, and it's going to lend to the we're making this up as we go feel like really heavily. So I don't like that. Or option 3, it's Emperor Palpatine. And if that's the case, I f***ing hate it. The idea of bringing back Palpatine pisses me off so much. And again, I hope it's not the case. And I would immediately and happily eat crow if they do it and find a way to do it that I actually enjoy. But I cannot think of a scenario where I don't hate that. I tried talking it out with some friends and they're like, well, I think if they set it up like he was always behind everything, maybe it'll work. And I'm thinking like, no, still no. So the idea of bringing Palpatine back, first of all, it's one of the most masturbatory, navel-gazy, looking back, retrograde kind of moves that this narrative could make. Just bring back the same freaking bad guy again. The epitome of not only failing to move forward, but basically undoing whatever progress the last two movies might have had at all. There's the fact that, like, it absolutely undermines Return of the Jedi, which honestly this new trilogy of films already does a little bit. This thing's already been living with the vibe of, God, can't the heroes just win? Don't we get to win and just have a happy ending? I know, like, well, it's not that simple in the real world. It's not the real world. It's fantasy. It's a film about space wizards and dogfights between the stars. I don't care if it's realistic. I should have had my happy ending at the end of Return of the Jedi. They had already got taken away by the idea of, well, all the Empire's resources got co-opted by a new thing that's basically the Empire Junior. So they already undermined that. But if they literally still have around the person who the entire point of the end of Return of the Jedi was to kill him, that was the entire point of the rebellion, was to kill that guy, and it turns out they didn't even manage to do it, and that Palpatine outlived Luke and Han. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, you did not. And it just makes the entire world of Star Wars feel so freaking small. It keeps coming back to it does the same thing that Solo, the Star Wars story, did. Everything comes back to the same handful of characters. A galaxy far, far away? This feels like a local neighborhood. We keep dealing with the same people over and over and over again, no matter what goes on and no matter how much time passes. We need to have this expand if you want this to actually be a thing. Now, it's now been said by Bob Iger, they're actually gonna give Star Wars a hiatus after this one. Good! Sit down and don't force things to come out once a year. Figure out what you're doing! Oh my God. I haven't really checked reactions. Like I said, I've talked to a few select friends of mine. I don't know if people are excited at the idea that maybe that was Palpatine's laugh and they're like, oh, everything's great. If like people are genuinely excited about this, I don't know why. I don't understand why. Because like that kind of move, that is the kind of thing Solo did. That is the kind of stupid, narratively unjustified fan wank that Solo had in abundance, and nobody really liked it all that much because it doesn't serve a story at all. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong about everything. I want this to feel like it flows naturally off of the back of The Last Jedi, for all the flaws that Last Jedi had. I want the Skywalker to just be the ones we already know about, which basically means it's Kylo Ren, so we're not getting another surprise, oh wait, this person actually is a Skywalker thing going on. I wanted them to build off that last shot at the end of Last Jedi, with that was basically the implication that the heroes could literally be anybody and come from anywhere, instead of everything revolving around the same handful of people in this family. I mean, I get that the numbered saga is the saga of the Skywalkers. Fine, let's wrap it up. But I want to be wrong, and sometimes I am. I was wrong about Wonder Woman. I thought it was gonna suck. I liked it a lot. I was wrong about Justice League. It wasn't great. It was kind of a mess, but I had a lot of fun. Same with Aquaman. Venom, I thought was going to be one of the worst things ever. Again, not great, but what was good in it was fun. I'm glad I saw it. I want to come away from a Star Wars movie being glad that I saw it, because I haven't had that since Rogue One. So I want to be wrong about all of this. But for all the times I just cited, where I thought something wasn't going to work and I was wrong, there have been a lot more times that I thought something wasn't going to work and I was right. So, we'll see. Star Wars Episode 9 trailer. The music did get to me. I'll give it that. Hearing that Star Wars music always does, though. Whatever your thoughts are about it, oh God. Part of the reason I haven't done a Star Wars video in a long time is because the comment sections are such hot garbage. try and keep it in line, people. Just don't be jerks, not to me, not to other people, and not to the makers of the film, okay? Whatever your thoughts are, drop them down in the comments. Let's talk about a whole bunch of things to do down there. Patreon, I'd appreciate it. There's merch, there's social media links, there's my P.O. box. Give a look at all that stuff. Click on things, or you don't have to. It's okay. I mean, I'd appreciate it, but at the end of the day, you're the council, and I'm just running the meeting. So until next time, this council is adjourned.